Okay, so this is what if Deku was basically reincarnated as a spider, but I'm most likely just gonna call it what if Deku was reincarnated, or what if Deku was isekai. But yeah, Deku is going to be a spider. I got this idea from So I'm a Spider. I basically just messed with the colors, changed the colors. I was going to make it blue, but as I started to color it blue, I got like halfway done, and then my phone, the phone turned off, and it completely restarted me. So yeah, it's black because I can easily make it black by messing with the color settings and making the colors turn off. So yeah, it's black. Anyway, I really don't have any announcements because yeah. Anyway, let's just get straight into the video. So we're gonna start Deku off at no, actually, let's start Deku off at school. I kind of want to bring Bakugo with him. No, actually, no, I'm gonna bring Todoroki with him just because, I want to bring somebody from class 1A so he has somebody to talk to, so it's not just me saying Deku did this, Deku did this. So I'm going to say Deku managed to get in without getting, one for all, just because I don't want the quirk to transfer over. But Todoroki's quirk will transfer over, but only his eyesight because he never used his fire sight and he really never liked it. So when he was getting reincarnated, the voice, because this was before the 1A, before the what's gonna call it, sports festival. He didn't want his um fireside. So basically, I'm going to explain that when they're getting reincarnated. But Deku, he didn't save Uraraka. He actually ended up saving Todoroki. And I guess I should explain how this happened since he's not since he's quirkless. And still ended up saving Todoroki, which has basically two quirks. Um, Basically, as a 0.0 is coming, uh, Deku, just picked up a rock and just threw it, and it really just distracted the 0.0 long enough for Deku to run up and try to lift the rebel off of Todoroki, but he really couldn't. So he was sitting there struggling, and he barely managed to tell Todoroki scoot out as he was lifting it up. Then he ends up picking up Todoroki, not bridal style, because he's not, yeah, let's say he's strong enough. No, because that means he'll be nah, yeah, let's say that he's strong enough to pick up Todoroki bridal style and run out of the gates. So he really didn't get let's say he managed to destroy three 3-pointers and 5 2-pointers and 20 1-pointers just by picking up rocks and stuff and throwing it at them and making them accidentally attack each other by him accidentally tripping or him flinching and falling over and then them accidentally hitting each other. So he really didn't mean to, but he ended up getting into 1A, getting into class 1A. So him, Todoroki, he saw my Todoroki since he saved him. They started to talk. Todoroki basically just said, walked up, told him thank you for saving me, and then Deku just started to talk to him, and then they become decent friends. Not I will die for you, friend, but friend. Um, and then one day, let's say they're going out for soba, and then because from what I know, Todoroki likes soba, so let's say they're going out for soba, and then a beam of light just tries picking up Deku, but Todoroki tries grabbing Deku's hand since they are friends. He's trying to save him, grabs his hand, and then the light decides to absorb Todoroki with him, and then let's say Todoroki he's all white with with the blue spots. No, all he's like a bluish icy white, mean icy blue. Then the rest of his stuff is like a light blue, but like his legs, his spots, his eyes, and stuff is like a light ice type blue. Basically, like I don't know how to describe it. Basically, like his eye, like his Endeavor side eye, it's basically like that type of blue, but just a little bit lighter. And then the rest of it is just white. Deku, he just got all black. I would give him all green with white, but I just wanted to be black and white since I did want it to be blue. And then his eyes will still be green, but the rest of him is just all black. Black with white, obviously. Anyway, they're going to be like they're going. Let me explain it basically. So they get reincarnated. Toroki is asked if he wants to keep his like fire quirk since like the voice is like we can see you don't like your like your fire side. Do you want to keep it? Tokoroki automatically says no, and then they disappear, making like a crater in the spot where they were standing. Let's say Deku dropped his like bag and Tokoroki dropped like his phone. So Deku's bag and Tokoroki's phone is like not inside of the crater but like right outside of the crater, like dropping distance from the crater, so people put two and two together, something must happened and they're missing now or they're dead. Anyway, Tokoroki and Deku are in this dark place and they're trying to talk but they really can't hear each other, but they will learn how to talk in a minute. Let's say Deku plays a lot of video games, but Tokoroki really didn't get to play video games growing up because of Endeavor, so he really won't understand what's going on. But Deku will just like when they learn how to talk, Deku will tell him the gist of it. And basically, they're both in this dark place, this dark little room together, but it's not really a room, it's actually an egg. And then they break out of the egg and then they both crawl out at the same time, and they just see what they both assume at the same time is their siblings just killing each other. They both look at each other and then just start running. They don't know it's each other, but from that like the same reaction of not trying to fight, they just start running together. Then they run into this super big spider, which is killing her own kids. Yes, it's their mom killing their own kids. So they run the opposite way, sneaking past their siblings and getting out of there. And then they try talking, and then a voice comes into their head saying, "Do you want to learn the skill communication?" Deku is like, yeah, I kind of need it. Tokoroki's like, Tokoroki's like, what is this skill communication to the voice? And the voice is simple, like it is said, it's how you talk. And then Tokoroki's like, yeah, he says like in a like his shy way, I don't know how to do that. He's like, yeah, I guess I should get it. And then the voice gives him the voice. It uses their 100 skill points that they both got from just being born. And then they both automatically talk, and Deku sounds like Deku, Tokoroki still sounds like Tokoroki, so they automatically put two and two together that this is Deku and that's Tokoroki. And then at the same time they basically say, Tokoroki says Izuku, and then let's say they'll actually die for each other close, because I want Izuku to call Tokoroki Shoto, so it was like Shoto. And then that basically happened. They both scream for a second, and then they just start walking around. They walk, let's say, for a couple of days. Yeah, a couple of days, but they don't know it's been days because they're in a cave. Yeah. So they just was walking for a couple of days, walking. Then they see footsteps. They both think people, like, we should go meet them, like. Then they end up seeing, and they can only talk to each other, like they can only understand each other. So if they try talking to another monster, that monster will not understand them. If they try talking to other people, people will not understand them. So basically what I'm saying is the people, they're not going to meet them at all. Anyway, they're walking, and then they see one of their brother. They know they actually see two of their brothers dead, and they realize. Let's say Todoroki realizes. No, let's actually switch that to Deku. Deku gets scared and realizes that people will kill him if they see him. So he ends up backing up, tripping, and shooting. Let me try to say this in English. Web, out of his back, basically like spiders can do. He shoots out webbing, and then so he basically looks at Todoroki and says, "Is this my webbing?" And like he starts like picking it up and messing with it and realizing, yeah, this is webbing. So he looks at Todoroki and says, "We should build like a shelter so we can just camp it out and not have to actually fight anything. We can just like camp in this spot, set up a web just like a regular spider would." So they start doing that. They set it up in basically these little like hallways into the cave. They set it up in a middle spot. Then they build like a little house thing, like in the middle. Their brothers, they didn't bury them. They just scooted them off to the side, and then they made like a house with three emergency escapes, and then it just looks like a little. It doesn't even look like a tent. It mostly looks like a weird circle type thing. This like floating on the ceiling basically. And then as soon as they're done, they both fall onto the floor of exhaustion, and then pass out. And then and then they wake up like not even a few minutes later, just 5 seconds, like let's say 5-10 minutes later, and realize that they're hungry. So they look at their brothers, and then they look at each other, and then Todoroki's like, gotta do what I gotta do. So he's the first person to, go over there and start eating one. And then Deku's like, yeah, Deku's thinking the same thing as he basically was. Todoroki's doing it, that means I gotta be manly enough to do it too. He overheard some of Kirishima's lines, so he might say that a few times. But anyway, he goes over there and he takes a bite, and then they both automatically just spit it out because it tastes like disgusting. And then they both scream at basically the same time. A man's got to have guts, and then they take another bite, and then they end up eating the whole thing. They get two skills. That's basically the same time. They get the skill, Kin Eater and Taboo, both level 1. Oh, and nah, I can't tell you their levels yet because they don't got the right skill, so they don't know what their levels are. They just know that they both got a skill called what was it, Kin Eater and Taboo. And then they just they look at it, and then they see like skill, and they're like, yeah, this skill is like creepy, and it looks like super weird, and when they try, no, they can't even read it. They just know that they got the skill, and they look at like the little, no, they can't even see the location because they basically don't have the right ability to yet. They need a skill called appraisal to look at their stats and stuff, so they really can't do that yet. But when they get to level 2, yeah, when they get to level 2, one of them will get the skill appraisal, but just not at this exact moment. And then as soon as they're done getting that, like as soon as they're done eating, they go back into their house and they just like talk a little bit. And then Deku and Todoroki both get a notification that they caught something, so they split up and they go fight it. Todoroki will just catch like a giant rat, which let's say it has a now let's say they both catch let's say Todoroki catches a lizard, and Deku catches this type of frog. So they both start fighting, basically I'm gonna do Deku's fight, and then I'll switch over to Todoroki's fight. Um, Let me see how. Oh, I can't even see how long I was recording. Let me see real quick. 15 minutes. Okay, after I'm done with Deku's fight and Todoroki's fight, I'm most likely going to end this off. And then I'll most likely do a video tomorrow or whenever I can. Anyway, Deku is jumping, like he just walks up regularly, to see, like to try to eat it, and then it automatically shoots poison at it, messing up one of his eyes, and then he automatically gets a skill called poison resistance level 1. Then but he doesn't know what level it is, so he just gets a skill called poison resistance. I'm saying the level, but whatever. And so he jumps back and then says, so this thing has poison. So then he tries again. He gets hit again, same spot in the eye. And then he doesn't level up his poison resistance, but he still gets hit. So he jumps back and says, okay, I'm going to have to take this serious. You see, Noah in anime, how their eyes sparkle up when they get serious. You basically see that, but instead of green, it's blue. And then Deku jumps side to side, dodging all of its poison, spit thingies, jumping on the wall. And then he ends up jumping behind it, biting it into the back. And then he bites down twice, getting realizing how, like, the way that it's screaming, Deku must have a poison skill, like a venom skill from his teeth. I'm just going to call it a venom bite for now till I remember the name, but he has venom basically because he's a spider. Then I'm going to switch over to Todoroki's. Todoroki is fighting a a lizard with basically the ability to burn his, like, Shikaraki's quirk, basically Shikaraki's quirk. I forgot what it's called, but he basically has Shikaraki's quirk. So he gets hit by it, let's say on his eye, same eye that he got burns on. So it brings back a little bit of trauma, but he really doesn't care because he knows that if he worries about that now, he's most likely going to die. So he starts dodging, and then he gets under its stomach. He bites it into the stomach, realizing that he also has venom. He bites it like 3 more times, and then he drags it back, as Deku's also dragging his catch back to their house. They split the catches in half. Then Todoroki gets the skill venom resistance, and then Deku gets the skill decay resistance. And then they basically both get that skill. I might as well just tell y'all the levels for now. And then I won't tell y'all their stats, but I'll tell you all the levels of their abilities. And basically, they get their poison resistance to level 3 both, but Todoroki gets his poison resistance to level 2. Deku gets his decay resistance to level 2. Todoroki gets his decay resistance to level 3. Okay, this is Shadow Master signing out. I'm going to be uploading this, and I hope y'all guys like it. Goodbye.